Now, as an aside from the resilience factors, I want to take a moment to talk to you about the luck factor. So for a while, and for most of what we've been doing in these resilience and optimism modules, we've been looking at how we can reframe negative experiences or neutral experiences to make them more neutral or positive. Now we're going to take at how we can reframe neutral experiences into positive ones. And the question is, are you lucky or are you not? This comes from the work of Dr. Richard Weissman, who published a book called The Luck Factor. And he studied to find out what are the differences between people who report themselves as being lucky versus those who don't. Here is an abbreviated version of his book in the form of an article. The synopsis is that he asked for people who thought of themselves as exceptionally lucky or exceptionally unlucky, and he asked for them to contact them. Over the years, he looked at about 400 extraordinary women and men who volunteered to participate in their research, the youngest being 18 and a student, and the oldest being 84, a retired accountant. They were drawn from all walks of life: businessmen, factory workers, teachers, housewives, doctors, secretary, and salespeople. And what he consistently found is that the findings revealed that luck is not a magical ability or actually the result of random chance, nor are people born lucky or unlucky. What he found was that it's a mindset, and apparently a helpful mindset. Instead, although lucky and unlucky people have almost no insight into the real cause of their good and bad luck, their thoughts and behaviors are actually responsible for much of their fortune. What he found, and he calls the 4 basic principles of lucky people, is 1, lucky people are skilled at creating and noticing more chance opportunities. People who, 2, think of themselves as lucky tend to make lucky decisions by listening to their intuition. 3, he found that people who reported themselves as lucky tend to create self-fulfilling prophecies via having positive expectations. And if you remember self-fulfilling prophecies, thoughts become beliefs, become actions, which further reinforce our beliefs. So what he was finding was that lucky people tended to do things that supported their luck. And 4, he found that lucky people tended to adopt a resilient attitude where they actually often transformed bad luck into good. So what he started to do was to train people who either had not thought of themselves as either lucky or unlucky, or take people who thought of themselves as unlucky and train them to view themselves in a different light. And what he found was that by learning and applying these principles, he was able to get 80% of people to increase their happiness level. They became more satisfied with their lives, and perhaps in a greater sense, they actually felt that they were more lucky. And if people had previously felt like they were unlucky, they became luckier. And the lucky, those that were already present who learned these principles, then increased their luck even more. So some very simple ways to reframe, to use this research and to put into practice. 1, consider yourself lucky. If you think about it, it's just another one of the many lenses that we're trying on for size. If you're trying on optimism glasses, or you're choosing to try on pessimism glasses, try on lucky glasses. Consider yourself lucky. What would it be like to tell yourself, I'm blessed, I'm fortunate, wow, good things are happening to me? When positive events happen, you can use a more optimistic explanatory style, which is more permanent, which is telling yourself, I'm so blessed, or I'm lucky. Why did this good thing happen? Because I'm lucky. And you can also spend more time in a positive emotional space. When you're more frequently in a positive emotional space, first thing that research shows is you're better able to hear your intuition. And when you're better able to hear your intuition, you also tend to be in that positive emotional space of noticing more good things around you. The 4th strategy is to embrace vulnerability. Now, some of you might think, how vulnerable is it to just tell yourself that you're lucky? But for some people, it is rather vulnerable in the sense that their positivity requires them lowering down their guard. And what if I think of myself as lucky? And what if something bad happens? Or will I just become too Pollyannic and avoid the possible negative that is happening in the world around me? And what we know about lucky people, or people who perceive themselves as lucky, is not that they just don't perceive potential threats in their environment. It's just that they're more likely to be equally looking for the opportunities, and rather than just preventing bad things from happening, maybe also offering more opportunities for good things to occur. And the fifth is to treat rejection as an opportunity to grow and to learn, what we already have covered in the differences between the learner path and the judger path. So we find this relationship to people who think of themselves as lucky or in the luck factor as also holding maybe more of a growth mindset, that they're frequently wanting to learn and wanting to grow, rather than just focusing on judgment, such as I'm not lucky or I don't have what it takes. So some really simple strategies, and I thought it was a fun thing to close us off with, because we spent all this time talking about how do we reframe negative experiences into neutral ones or positive ones. And this is a fun and easy reframe that can be really easy and helpful for people to start to simply just see themselves as, I'm lucky, I'm fortunate, I'm blessed. Some discussion questions for you to consider. Have you experienced this luck factor before, or this unlucky factor in your life? How has thinking of these things to yourself impacted you? And what can you do to apply this research into your daily life?